Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report podcast. Today is a commemorative day, episode 37. Really excited to have everybody here. And today we have a guest, local realtor Michael Abts. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to meet you and have this conversation because you're in real estate. You know, we've talked several times about real estate and all the things that come with it. So for the audience, I'd love for you to maybe kind of break down who you are and where you come from.
Yeah. So I actually was born not too far from here out in Livermore. I grew up in Brentwood back in the day when it was a little farm town.
Yeah.
It's grown a lot since then. But then when I was a kid, we left. We actually left California, went up to Washington. And I spent junior high and high school up in Washington State and then came back for college.
Oh, interesting.
So I finished my undergrad at San Francisco State.
Oh, so that's where Malif went, right? Or no, Malif went to San Francisco University. I think he went to SFU. And
USF.
USF.
I think he was at USF. I was at San Francisco State.
Gotcha.
Undergrad.
And that's how we met, through Steve Malif, True North Kitchen and Bath, who was on the show. And we just kind of hit it off, we had lunch, talked real estate, talked horror stories, talked victories and all the things.
Both have happened.
Yeah. What got you into the real estate space? And maybe talk a little bit about the early kind of the beginnings of your story in the real estate industry.
Yeah, for me, I think real estate was always one of those things that was in the back of my mind that I thought, I'm interested in it and I think I'd be good at it. And for various reasons, whether it be life, other pursuits, university, all the things that happened that took me to multiple cities around the US and abroad. I've lived a lot of places, which actually I think has been an asset now coming home. It was never the right time. And then several years ago, as my wife and I were finalizing our roots here, starting to have the family, I kind of said, you know what? I think now's the time to do it. And what I've come to learn is that I'm really intrigued by people's stories and helping them make decisions where they can live their best life. And real estate's a really good spot for that. In my other endeavors with performance and with restaurants all through college, what I found was that areas where I excelled were connecting with people. And at every juncture, it was always about putting myself in someone else's shoes to help them succeed and to help them have a specific experience. And in real estate, what I've found is that every time we walk into an open house, every time we are searching for a home, that house has a story. And I get really, really interested and excited about learning people's past stories and the stories that people want to create in a home. Because people buy homes and sell homes for all different kinds of reasons.
Sure.
And sometimes they're selling a home because their family's growing and they want a bigger place. Sometimes their job has taken them to a new area. Sometimes a family member has passed away and they need to sell their childhood home. And I get really interested in the life that's been lived inside of a home. And when people are buying, the life that they want to create. And so from a storytelling, interpersonal communication, connection standpoint, I get really, really interested in those things.
And I'd imagine it's just very natural for you. What really interested me when I heard your initial story was your performance background and your time with Verizon Wireless. You did some work with them, right?
Yeah. So my background in performance is by trade and college and training. I am an actor, and my background is classical stage and Shakespeare.
Amazing.
And what I've found is that, again, the through line is connection. And when we talk about great performances, whether it's stage or screen, it's all about how that person that you're watching connects with someone else, and then how they elicit something out of you. And my work with Verizon led to voiceover work, which was great. It's an ongoing side job. But again, it comes back to connecting with people and telling a story. And I do think my background in performance has given me a better than average ability to read people across the room
Mm.
and read body language
Mm-hmm.
and see if what I'm saying is landing,
Yeah.
which is huge in negotiations.
Yeah.
And there's a really, really great management writer, Drucker. He's an Austrian American writer. He talks about management,
Mm-hmm.
and he says one of the best things you can do listening is to listen to hear what's not being said. And that's body language.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we learn in acting is how what we are doing is conveyed
Yeah.
and being able to see if it's landing. So when I'm communicating and when I'm negotiating in real estate, I'm checking in with that person. I'm seeing what their eyes are doing. I'm seeing what their shoulders are doing, and I'm seeing what their breath is doing.
Yeah.
Because I might say something and then instantly know, oh, that landed or not.
Yeah.
We need to shift gears and we need to change how we're going to move forward.
I think
Or
those.
the opposite.
Yeah.
That worked. Let's keep going. We're on the same page.
Yeah. I think those who are able
So-
to mirror and
Absolutely.
pick up on the tonality and all the nuances of the communication,
Yeah.
the body language and everything really sets you apart in this industry and this, dog eat dog space where there's a lot of greed and manipulation. And I think and we might be able to speak to this a little bit today, the NAR settlements and what's been
Mhm.
going on with concessions and commissions and contracts and all that. I've always liked to say, whether you're in real estate or in construction, if you're a contractor or if you're a fiduciary, you're a professional agreement maker. You
Yeah.
have to do not only what you say you're going to do, but if you're going to go above and beyond, that's when you're going to build a reputation and then, bring an inflow of opportunities towards you. And I'm sure with your experience and performance and your initial onset with real estate, that was just kind of natural for you because you have a really amazing ability to communicate and connect with your clients.
I think one thing that I view differently from most negotiators is I don't believe it's us versus them.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe everyone's on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care where we are in the transaction. I don't care if we're sitting next to each other. I don't care if we're sitting opposite each other.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that everybody is on the same page, or needs to be on the same page, I should say.
Yeah.
But we are on the same team to get there. And getting to an equitable final transaction where everybody feels valued
Mm-hmm.
and everybody feels like their investment has been honored from the person who's owned the home for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years, versus the person who's now spending everything they've saved to get the home. Everybody has to feel that their investment
Mm-hmm.
is honored.
Mm-hmm.
And from that standpoint, I truly believe that we are all on the same team.
So you jumped on with Keller Williams.
Yes.
And I think so when I looked you up, you're in the Burlingame office.
Yes.
Is that where you started?
Yep.
Wow. So
Been
you're
there
still
the whole
there.
time.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
There are a lot of brokerages that are constantly trying to scalp agents.
Yeah.
And I probably get 2 to 3 phone calls a year saying, "Hey, how was your time at Keller Williams? You want
Mhm.
to come over here?" But
it must be
I
good
love,
considering you've
I
been
love
there
the
for
people
so
that I
long.
work with.
Yeah.
And I love the environment that Keller Williams has created, which is one where there's an infrastructure within Keller Williams that helps you succeed,
Mm-hmm.
that helps you keep your priorities, and also allows you to continue to grow. And I think that's huge.
Yeah. Are you on a team?
I am not on a team.
Okay.
I am a solo agent.
Cool. Have you thought about joining a team or?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
Teams do amazing, great work.
I think Desen is in that
Deason.
often. Deason.
Deason Kai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Phenomenal. He's great.
Yeah.
He's actually someone that when I have questions, I often go over, I knock on his door and I'm say, "Hey, Deason, you have 5 minutes?"
Cool.
And that's something that I really enjoy about our office
Mm-hmm.
is that we have agents who have been there for 20 years who are extraordinarily successful.
Mhm.
And my experience has been they're always open to sharing
Yeah.
and they're always willing and open to lifting everybody else up.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that comes back to, yes, it's dog eat dog, but at the same time, there has to be an acknowledgement that when you help other people succeed, we all succeed.
And that's how you win in real estate for
really,
the long
really is.
for the long haul, man. Because if you think about everybody eating. And when a real estate transaction opens and we go into escrow, it's like microeconomy occurs. Like
Yeah.
all of these players come into the deal, transaction coordinators, inspectors, contractors, real estate agents, title officers, escrow officers, everybody begins to help out like little elves.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets paid at the end of this file when the escrow closes. But as somebody that brings the opportunity, how do you facilitate your transactions when you're working with your clients? And tell us about maybe some core principles that that you really dive into when you do a file.
So the first thing I do is I listen.
Mm-hmm.
Before we even get to the point where an offer's been made, before we get to the point where we're negotiating with the other side of the table, the first thing I do is listen. You have to see if the person that becomes your client, one, is ready.
Yeah.
Because they might be telling you the story about why they want to buy a home or why they need to sell their home. And you have to first hear everything they're saying and everything they're not saying. You have to be able to say, is this someone that I can work with?
Mm-hmm.
You have to acknowledge where they are in their life and in their ability to execute this transaction. You have to validate their fears,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to advise. And all of that comes from listening and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to understand where they are before you can. Starting with that, then you could say, okay, I think we can do this.
Mm.
Yes, I'm the right person for you. And it might happen where I'm not.
Have
And
you
that's
ever had
okay.
to pull out of a deal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You try not to do that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you definitely try to make things work. You engage in those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently though, I got a phone call and it was from a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed to sell their childhood home. And I said, great, let's have a conversation. And so as we were going through that initial step of me listening to where they were,
Mm-hmm.
me understanding their situation, validating their fears and their feelings of having to sell their childhood home. And then we brought in all the other elements where they were in their life with their family, all these other exigent circumstances that I have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
We realized I'm not the right person for
Not the good
this
fit.
job.
Yeah.
And that's completely okay.
Was it a trust sale?
This one, yes, this one was. This one was actually going to be a trust sale. And there were different decision makers in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it became clear that the best thing that I could probably do for this transaction
To walk
was
away.
help them find someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot to making sure that the client comes first.
Yeah.
It's not about me. Would I love to help them? Absolutely. Would the paycheck be great? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But like you just said, having that integrity and having the ability to build long-term relationships sometimes means
Saying no.
It
Yeah.
sometimes means I'm not the right person for you, but I'm not going to abandon you. Maybe I'm going to help you find someone who
Point
I
you
know
in the
is
right
really good.
direction. Yeah. And I think they would probably end up
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
Whether it's, they want to buy an investment property or they want to work with you in another capacity.
Or they'll refer me out.
Yeah.
And they'll say, hey, you know what? I know a great guy.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And it's important to, I think, be able to acknowledge that when you have those conversations.
And negotiating that can make or break a relationship.
Yeah.
What's your approach when, the stakes are high? Like, and you're, because things can seem smooth and easy. They never are for the longevity of a transaction.
Sure.
What's your approach when you start feeling the pressure?
The first thing we have to do, it comes back to empathy and listening.
Yeah.
For me, empathy and listening really is
it's like the superpower,
everything.
Man. It's a superpower.
You have to be able to, when the pressure is high, go back and listen to what your client is saying.
Yeah.
Because if you can articulate what your client is saying and they can articulate to you, sometimes they can't, and you need to be able to ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you go back to those first conversations you had when you brought them on as a client. You said, hang on, you told me this was one of your goals.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not anymore, that's okay. Let's reevaluate. Because right now, things are getting muddled.
Mm-hmm.
And someone might be wanting, they said they need 3 bedrooms, they want X, Y, and Z, and they're not settling for anything else. And then all of a sudden, someone dangled a carrot
Mm-hmm.
and they said, oh, actually, we kind of want that. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You're now in this transaction
Mm-hmm.
and this doesn't have that. And you're saying you now want to back out. This is exactly what you said you wanted.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is protecting your clients in a way that gives them an out,
Mm-hmm.
protecting your clients in a way that says, okay, if we want to walk away from this transaction, we can. We need to do it now, or we need to make sure A, B, or C happens before we do that. That's fine. Part of my job is to plan for those contingencies and protect them against that, protect them against themselves.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds like it's on the buyer side. And I think that's huge when you're able to ground them emotionally and kind of help them navigate the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
However, on the other side of the table, on the seller side, when you have a seller that's so emotionally attached, like maybe it sounds like your friend,
Yep.
Childhood, home,
Yeah.
raised the family, been there 25 years, emotionally thinks it's worth X.
Yeah.
But the markets are like, hey, it's really Y. How do you navigate that scenario with your clients?
On some level, you have to be very unemotional about it.
Yeah.
It comes back to acknowledging and validating. So
Mm-hmm.
I say lava,
Mm-hmm.
listen, acknowledge, validate, advice.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fire, lava, kind of fun. But you can listen to what they're saying that they want and what they expect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is managing expectations.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple of years, I think we've done that a lot. Coming off of COVID, when houses were going for an obscene amount over asking,
Bananas.
absolutely obscene.
Mm-hmm.
We had, historically low interest rates followed by people's access to money was unprecedented. And what happened was prices went through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And the listing prices were high. The over asking prices were even higher. It was absolutely insane, but we're not in that world anymore. I had a different client about a year ago who was adamant that he was going to get a certain dollar for his house. And I had to sit there and say, okay, why do you feel that way? And he says, well, this house 3 months ago went for this. And I said, yeah, 3 months is typically within the realm of when we're looking for comps on the sell side. However, it's much more granular than that. And a lot happens in 3 months. So when we have to sit there and say, I hear you, I understand that, let me ask you some more questions. Do you need that? What kind of life can you live moving forward if you get 1.8 versus 1.6? How does that $200,000 change your life? Everybody wants more money. Of course they do.
Of course.
But what are your goals with that money?
Yeah.
And so part of it is developing that trust that they're comfortable talking to me about what their goals are.
Yeah.
Because if I can sit there and say, great, you can still live the life you want to live, and the market says it's now 1.6, not 1.8, is that something you're comfortable with?
Yeah.
And it comes back to understanding where they are and listening. I don't think people do that enough.
I agree. I agree.
And the numbers don't lie.
They don't. And the difference between listing price and sale price are very, very, I mean, they're very different. So
Yes.
when you're talking with a seller and a listing, a lot of them are attached to the listing price initially. How do you help them differentiate the two?
So it depends on what their goal is.
So most sellers, they want to just get the best dollar for their whatever it is that they're
And there
selling.
are different theories and different ways to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So some people will say, great, I'm not going to list any less than for what I will take. Great, that's fine. Some people will say, I might advise you to list a little bit lower than what you think you want in order to create a bidding war.
Do you
there's
believe in
different
the
skills.
fire sale technique?
Yeah, absolutely. It just there's a time and a place for it.
Okay. What are some examples that you could bring up?
So perfect example is,
Mhm.
let's say someone passes away and the family
Yeah.
doesn't want to carry the home. They
Mhm.
don't want to have a home list on the market for 4 months
Yeah.
or 3 months,
Mhm.
which happens not too often here. We're very, very fortunate in the Bay Area, and we're very, very fortunate here on the peninsula.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, in our county, we still have an average.
San Mateo County, by the way,
San Mateo
for
County.
folks.
San Mateo County still has an average of 108% of list price. What that means is the offers are coming in,
Mhm.
and the house is being sold for 8% over what it was listed at. In the county, single family homes, we still have 22-day average. There are some neighborhoods where it's down to 11 days
Mhm.
that that's the average number of days a house is on the market. So we are very, very fortunate here. Now, does that mean every house is going to do that? Absolutely not.
It's true.
Does it mean every side of the street is going to do that? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
So when you run the numbers and when you start having the hyper localized, granular knowledge and experience with specific neighborhoods and specific towns and then specific streets, that's where your advising comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
You listen, you say, great, you're right. That house 2 blocks away sold for X amount.
Mm-hmm.
Not your home.
2020.
home.
Yeah. So we're at the end of 2025. 2025, 2024, 2023. At the end of 2023, we experienced a lot of quantitative tightening, a lot of tightening of the money supply.
Yes.
Interest rates going up, coming off of COVID, and that printing machine just shelling out dollars like no other. What are some of your predictions going into 2026? Do you think now that we're going to see some quantitative easing in the markets, that interest rates will come down and mortgage rates as well? What are some of your thoughts?
So right now, depending on the day, depending on the week, we're still floating in the low 6s for most 30-year fixed rate mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, that's not bad. It's not terrible. I think a lot of us got starry-eyed with the 2s and 3s during COVID.
Totally.
And if you go back 5 years, if you go back 10 years, if you go back 20 and 30 years, historically, anything over 7% is actually not a terrible rate. Part of it comes down to what are your long-term goals?
Mm-hmm.
Because lenders are rolling out a lot of options for people in order to combat the 2 and 3% mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to buy down your rate and you have capital, great.
Do it.
If you're going to be in your home longer than 7 to 8 years, it's going to be worth it for you to prepay that interest. And then once you hit that 8-year mark, you're going to, you're back in the black as far as making it equitable.
Mm-hmm.
If you're only going to be in the home for 4 to 7 years, it's not going to be worth it. Keep that capital.
Yeah.
And be okay with what you have, knowing that you're still going to get the appreciation. And then you turn around and you upgrade. Statistically, on a national level, the average person stays in their home for 7 to 9 years. That's the typical turnover. Of course, there are going to be people who move sooner. There are going to be people who stay in longer. But if you're in that 7 to 9 year range, you really have to crunch the numbers. And then that's where advising and bringing other people in, making sure that people on your team, not necessarily your real estate team, like you just mentioned, I'm a solo agent, but all those other people who have hands in the transaction.
And that's a team.
That's your team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's your team. There are going to be things that other people are better at than me. One of my jobs is to find those people and say, great, let's work together because you have a skill that I don't have.
Exactly.
And my client will benefit from that. So let's work together.
And I think something that excites me about our relationship is the potential to work on commercial and residential.
Absolutely.
Being on the commercial side with EXP and you being on the residential side with Keller Williams, now we can take on more transactions and more opportunities, which I'm really, really excited about. And the negotiations and the communications and all the things that you do as a fiduciary still apply
Yep.
in the commercial space. So it's
Yes.
not, it's not apples and oranges. It's still the same game. So it's just a little different. You might have, a russet apple here, but you're working off of like a delicious red delicious
yeah.
over here. It's kind of like that. I want to talk about business systems and technology
Okay.
in the real estate space, because with the advent of AI and how we're able to pull lists and prospect and put together amazing marketing packages and really take on more work with less of the human effort.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about some of the systems and processes that you employ within your workflow in Keller Williams and with your client base.
So the first thing we at Keller Williams do is, so we have Command as our CRM.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that Command is really, really good at is putting everything in one place. It integrates pretty well into most other things like Canva, MLS,
Mm-hmm.
and messaging systems, having a way to send out text messages and emails. Everything can happen from within Command. So if you're not juggling 5, 6, 7 different programs,
Mm-hmm.
not only does that make your work faster and more efficient, it also prevents things from getting lost.
Yeah.
And that's huge in a transaction.
Especially when you got like 2 or 3
Yeah.
going at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially here in California, where contracts and transactions are hundreds and hundreds of pages long sometimes, having everything in one place benefits everybody.
Yeah.
And make sure things don't get missed.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't really miss in the residential space is all the disclosures and the boxes that you have to tick. I think it's like what you said, maybe 70 or 100 boxes that you have to tick.
Oh yeah.
In commercial, it's like 5.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, California is an incredibly litigious state.
Probably the most in the union.
And something I never would have thought about prior to getting into real estate, and this kind of comes from one of my mentors at Keller Williams. One of my jobs is to keep my clients out of court. And I never would have thought about that prior to getting into the business.
Mm-hmm.
But you talked about all these people that we have in the transaction,
Mm-hmm.
and we all work together. We all work together to make sure that everything's reviewed, make sure it's done properly,
Mm-hmm.
make sure all disclosures happen, and then it gets handed off to our legal team that we keep on retainer at Keller Williams
Mm-hmm.
so that they can review everything. But as it moves forward, it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
We want everything to keep going forward to protect our clients. And then again, that comes back to the fact that everyone feels like their investment is valued and protected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with, for most people, what is the largest financial transaction of their life.
Yeah.
And if it goes south, it can be very, very damaging for people.
Some parts of the workflow that we really love is it's mostly on the multimedia side and the
Okay.
marketing and advertising side, where we're able to put together photo and video and compile them into Canva using
Yep.
AI. And a lot of the editing software programs that we're employing in that workflow cut the editing time by hours. And Ryan can speak to this because we've gone from editing 2-3 hour projects down to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that level of time that you're able to save and buy back, you're then able to just focus on prospecting, talking to your customers, talking to your clients, making sure that things are moving along readily, and then honestly moving on to the next deal. Because if you've got a solid workflow and you've got a transaction, this team emerges, let them take on the work. You don't need to coordinate the transaction.
No.
You got the quarterback in place, you do all the things, and then now you can go work on another file. How do you feel about AI in this workflow? And are you using any of it?
So I am cautiously optimistic.
Okay. I think we all are.
The main reason I think I'm cautiously optimistic is because I acknowledge what it can do, like you're saying, for cutting down people's time.
Mm-hmm.
The two things that I think it scares me for are the lack of
The human connection.
Because like I said earlier, my background of performance and connecting and creating experiences,
Mm-hmm.
um, I see that as critical to making sure someone feels valued.
Mm-hmm.
And I I get very, very nervous for AI when it starts to replace that connection.
Mm-hmm.
I think it absolutely has its place in the workflow. I think when I turn around and I say, okay, great, I need to go preview 15 properties. I can plug into AI all those addresses and they're going to say, great, here's the best driving route to do it to save you an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Super basic,
Mm-hmm.
super basic use of AI. But it's effective.
Yeah.
And I just saved an hour.
Yeah.
When I can turn around and say, plug in some numbers and extrapolate information, great.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to steal from people's creativity
Mm-hmm.
because I think as we're coming up with marketing plans, I think being creative is a really, really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I do for marketing is I try to reach out to local businesses. So when there was a new bagel shop that opened up right up the hill
Mm-hmm.
about a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
I went up and I knocked on the door and I met the owner. And I said, great, you're a new bagel shop. I would love to put you on my flyers
Mm.
and let me buy people a coffee or a bagel
Amazing.
when I go and door knock and I have conversations.
Yeah.
And then I did the same thing. I'm currently doing the same thing for the donut shop that
That's
just
so
opened
interesting.
over on 25th Avenue.
That is so interesting.
And
Keep
again,
going.
AI can help me generate the material for the flyer
Mm-hmm.
very, very quickly. AI can help me edit. AI can help me do all of that stuff that would have taken me way too long because I'm not a designer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are other people who do it much more efficiently than me. And it's really good for that.
Mm.
But it doesn't replace me going and shaking the person's hand and having the conversation.
100%. I think with the advent of AI, personally, how I feel about it is creativity will become the new currency.
Yeah.
In these industries, where this human connection and this ability to conjure up new ideas that are focused on the nuances and the niches of that particular situation, scenario, individual, is unlike anything AI or robotics can do. I think we talked about this on a previous show. One example is, and you spoke to this earlier today during the show about communication, empathy, and reading body language and reading, tonality and all of that. Hero Dreams of Sushi. You ever see this on Netflix? It's about this old Japanese sushi chef in Japan.
Okay.
Everybody all over the world comes to this sushi restaurant.
Is this the place that only has like the...
It's like 7 seats.
Yeah.
And there's like a year and a half line.
Yeah.
And so Hero, intergenerational sushi chef, giving it to the son. Everybody goes there not only for the food, but more so his service because of the attention to detail. You walk in the door, you sit down, you move your chopsticks to the left. He understands that you're left-handed, so he serves to the left.
Yeah.
That level of intimate service provision, providing that type of experience, you can't replace with AI. You just can't. I think that level of human connection is what's going to separate those who are using AI for replacement purposes versus those who are using AI for enhancement purposes.
I think that's a really good distinction.
Yeah, huge deal.
It's a really good distinction.
Something else that I absolutely love that you said is rather than prospecting, door knocking on residential doors as a residential realtor, you're going to commercial outfits.
Absolutely.
And knocking on those doors. And I do the exact opposite. I actually go to open houses and I prospect residential agents and I go, hey, if you need commercial needs, I'm your guy. Beautiful open house, beautiful. I just did one over the weekend and it's such a great cross-pollination of the two, styles or flavors or asset classes. When you said that, I was just like, that's awesome.
Well, and part of that is about just being an active member in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about raising everybody else up. Because again, if it's not just about me and it's about bringing other people up, it's not just my clients, be a good person be a good neighbor, be a good citizen
Mm-hmm.
in your community, whatever your community happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who is a business owner, real estate agents are, solo business owners.
Mm-hmm.
It's your business and you will only get out of it what you put into it. That's true for all businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can help that donut shop in their initial couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
when they've just had all of these expenditures to get up and going, let me help with their marketing and let me bring those people together.
Mm.
I have clients who are in your neighborhood. You need your business to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put you guys together.
Mm-hmm. It's all about connections and relationships.
Absolutely.
On the show, we talk a lot about wellness and building business and entrepreneurship and legacy. I think there is this romanticism behind real estate and what it means to be a realtor, especially what we see on Instagram and on Netflix. And there's just a lot of showmanship.
Sure.
And you could probably speak to this as somebody that comes from the performing arts. It's not the case. It's really hard. You have to be on the phone a lot, at least if you want to produce and be successful and go above what average does.
Yep.
Because the average realtor doesn't do much in the United States. I think I read a statistic in 2024 where like 70-something% of realtors nationwide didn't do a deal.
Yeah.
That's an amazing statistic. So when it comes to running and gunning and hunting for what you have to, put on the table as a realtor, what's your perspective on balance versus integration, and how do you marginalize burnout in this industry?
So I want to touch on 2 or 3 things that just came up in there.
Yeah.
The first is I actually think this is where AI could be really, really good.
Mm.
So this, I think, is a really good segue from AI
Mm-hmm.
because if there are things you can automate, that's a good spot. That's a good way to prevent the burnout
Mm-hmm.
so that you're not constantly sending the emails, sending the text messages,
Mm-hmm.
and doing those types of things and spending the time on your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
AI can help with that so that you don't get as out
Mm-hmm.
and that you do have time to balance work and family.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you have to set boundaries. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a bad thing to have boundaries with your professional life.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are a lot of, like you're saying, there are a lot of images and there are a lot of stories where you see the agents always on the phone. All you do is you see the agent working 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
It has its time and its place.
Mm-hmm.
There are times in transactions where things happen, something comes up, and it needs to be dealt with immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really, really important to know why you're doing something. If you can say, I am doing this for my family. I'm doing this so that my family has a certain lifestyle. I am doing this so that I can help other people.
Intention.
And if you know what your why is, then from there, you should also be able to set your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I have small kids.
How old are they?
5, 7, and 9.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and
I have a teenager. He's
slightly older.
He's slightly old. He's going to be 17 next year.
And so I would just ask you, I mean, how would you work differently if your child were right now 7?
Well,
17.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been an entrepreneur for nearly 20 years, and it was never about balance. It's always been about integration for us. So I was fortunate enough to have a community
Mm-hmm.
to rely on, because it takes a village when you're raising kids. But he was always with me. He went on appointments. He would work on projects, at a very, very young age, from I think 5 to until he was able to stay home alone. If I have to go somewhere, you're hopping in the car, you're hopping in the truck. And I think that was a really great experience for him to see the consistency of the work, but more importantly, the connections between him and I, just being able to bond and problem solve and answer his curious questions. Like, why did that happen? And why did you do it this way? And just having that type of connection with him was just day in and day out for, gosh, nearly 15 years.
And I think what you just said is having the connection.
Yes.
And so I think that I think for me, finding the balance is saying, yes, there are times where the kids are going to come with you. And I think it's important for them to see you working.
Yeah.
It's important for them to learn that dedication and consistency is important.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, with where my kids are in their ages, if we're doing bedtime reading, my phone's off for 15 minutes.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
We still have, unless I'm expecting an extremely important phone call or there is a massive fire going on in a transaction.
You know when to turn the lights off.
We still have a no phone at the dinner table rule.
Love it.
And I think just as much as my clients deserve my time, my kids do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to find those moments.
You talked about boundaries, and I want to talk about that. What are some boundaries that you've learned to set to protect your energy and your focus as a father and as an entrepreneur?
One boundary is protecting my time with my family. That's a big one. Mm-hmm. Again, it doesn't mean that things don't happen. It doesn't mean that there aren't times where the job has to come first. But one boundary that as a general rule that I have is during soccer season, I'm coaching my daughter's soccer on Saturday mornings.
Non-negotiable.
So, generally speaking, no.
Mm-hmm.
Do things happen? Of course.
Yeah.
But it might mean I'm doing open houses on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to lean on another agent to hold an open house on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go be coaching soccer.
You make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. What advice would you give to other agents trying to build that type of longevity in the industry?
I think my advice would be to define your why and know where your limits are. Mm-hmm. Because other people, what works for me might not work for somebody else, and someone else might have different limits. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And I think you need to know where your strengths are. Mm-hmm. You need to know what your weaknesses are so that you can lean on other people to raise you up. And you can find people that you can build up that you can lean on. So I would say build your professional community. Mm-hmm. And be really honest with yourself.
Yeah.
About what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah. There's like a million different ways to make money in real estate.
Yeah.
And you chose the realtor path.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, do you have intentions, or rather looking back, do you think about maybe should have taken another path in the real estate space, or
not necessarily?
Do you have any curiosity in opening up other doors in the real estate space?
I mean, I think something that I would like to continue to grow is finding those places where I can be the person to fill the gap. I think that one thing that I'm
Can you give an example?
really good at, so I recently started teaching a class at Keller Williams called Silent Wins in negotiation.
Is it just for Keller Williams folks or anybody?
I mean, right now it's mainly been
Internal?
for Keller Williams. Doesn't mean I couldn't do it elsewhere.
Okay.
But
don't want to show up with my EXP sweater.
No, it's okay. And with this 1 hour class, leaning on my background in performance and connection and empathy, what we do is we talk about how your check-in with yourself and your check-in with the person across the table can help you get to the closing table, can help you win in negotiations. And not just you, the other person. I mean, one of Gary Keller's big things is win-win. It's a successful transaction when every party wins. That's it. Everybody wins or it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
And one thing that I contend with the Silent Wins workshop is that having that face-to-face interaction with people, with the other agents, with the other people who are working with you to get the transaction completed is what enables you to do it quickly and efficiently so that everybody feels valued and everybody wins. So I think finding those things moving forward where I can help other people do that,
Mm-hmm.
where I can help other people be more confident negotiators, and I can help other people learn how to check what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
as well as read what the other person is doing, um, so that you can hear what's not being said
Yeah.
and move forward.
I love that about really anybody, but those in the real estate space, just pouring into others,
Yeah.
is just everything. Well, this has been really fun, Mike. We're kind of wrapping up here. We didn't talk about this phase or this kind of section of the show.
Yeah.
We typically do a rapid fire round,
Oh boy.
and I'm going to come at you with some short, fun, clippable moments.
Okay.
But it's going to be rapid fire. You ready?
We'll see.
Okay. Awesome. Um, First question, Mike. Negotiation or marketing, which matters more?
They're so different. Um, which matters more? Marketing.
Marketing. Because I guess if you have really good marketing, there's really no need to negotiate because it does all the negotiating for you.
I was going to say your marketing sets the standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your marketing sets the standard, then your negotiation gets you through.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you have to know where to start.
Yeah. I love that. One habit every great agent should have.
Time blocking.
Ooh. Okay. Schedule, calendar work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring
Awesome.
AI into it.
Yeah.
Let AI help you time block.
Yeah. I think, well, that's the first rung of the replacement ladder.
Yeah.
That everybody should really consider is your calendar. What's the most underrated skill in real estate?
Listening.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I think in not just real estate,
Just in life.
in life.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke about those interpersonal relationship skills,
Yeah.
like if you don't have good listening skills, then,
When you truly listen, listening begets empathy. Empathy begets understanding. And when you understand the other person, you're connected,
mm-hmm.
and you can solve almost any problem when you understand where they are.
It's a golden nugget right there. What's one thing clients should always demand from their agent?
Communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes both ways. I think the agents should demand communication from their clients. Many pitfalls can be resolved before they're pitfalls
mm-hmm.
with early communication intervention.
Mm-hmm. Hardest part of the job that people don't see?
Failing. I think especially in this world of social media, we all put our best foot forward. We all present success.
Yeah.
And there's that image of the iceberg, and we all see the tip of the iceberg that's outside of the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's the success. But 85% of the iceberg is below the water.
It's failure.
And that is the building, the grinding, phone calls,
Yeah.
the rejection,
The no's.
failure,
Mm-hmm.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like that image of the iceberg.
I think that's a great analogy. And a lot of folks, I don't think, the whole analysis paralysis syndrome where they're kind of stuck because, they think or they're fearful or whatever. I think a lot of people aren't so scared to fail, but more so scared to be seen failing. And that's kind of an interesting concept if you think about it, because in reality, nobody gives a shit what you do or think or say at the end of the day. So you just go out there and take the dive and do what you love.
Yeah.
Okay. How about favorite part of working in San Mateo County?
We are very fortunate here that we have, I think, a wide range of properties and people.
Mm-hmm.
We have everything from, Silicon Valley in tech to the equestrian world in Woodside.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually my very, very first open house that a mentor took me on at Keller Williams was to this extraordinarily expensive estate it's equestrian estate
Mm-hmm.
in Woodside.
Mm.
And you get to meet people who are just doing really, really cool things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that. I like to see that there are people in the equestrian world, in the tech world, we're close to Napa, in the wine world.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are surrounded with people who are okay dedicating their life to something.
Mm-hmm.
And I get really, really interested when I see other people passionate about stuff. And I think we're surrounded by a lot of passionate people in their respective industries in San Mateo.
Yeah, 100%.
And I get very excited when I see other people who are also excited about something.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Family time or business win, what grounds you more?
Family time. We're a big outdoor hike camping family.
You guys just got back from like a 5-month trip or something like that?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
From a 5-month trip.
What a great family bonding
It
time.
was. Our kids were at a really, really good age, and we actually took them to Europe for 5 months. We were super fortunate that we had the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We rented our house here.
Oh, wow.
Which helped enable it.
Yeah.
And our kids had the opportunity to go and experience other cultures. And we got to, we started in Spain, and then we went down to Morocco. We got to spend 2 weeks in Morocco during Ramadan. And
amazing.
Talking about connection, we got to see our kids connect with people from different cultures all over the world. And that's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
So,
very
and it comes
cool.
back to the empathy. It's how do you be a good community member with people that you might not have a similar lifestyle to?
Yeah.
So they got a little taste of that, which I think hopefully down the road will serve them well.
Yeah. 100%. What's one thing, as we wrap up, what's one thing for our listeners on the show? What's one thing you want our listeners to take away from this conversation?
Don't be scared. If you do your homework, if you engage in conversation and communication with your agent, you'll be okay. Find the person that works for you and make sure that you guys are on the same team.
Awesome.
Start early. That's another thing I would say.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to be moving in 6 to 12 months, start now.
Yeah.
Don't start a month.
Which is a great segue. How can people connect with you if they're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? So
I'm here in the Bay Area with Keller Williams. So they can reach out via the website, which is just Michael Abts, michaelabts.kw.com, or email michaelabts@kw, or Instagram.
Awesome.
So our Instagram, it's actually a family Instagram account.
Oh, cool.
But it's Raising Them Global. We kind of came up with that name before our trip, but it has a blend of the different things that I do. It's family focused, it's work focused,
lifestyle,
it's leisure focused,
family.
Because again, for me, it's about building that balance.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for
at
coming on the
Raising
show.
Them Global.
Yeah.
I really appreciate
it.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
Y'all, another episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report podcast. Please hit the subscribe button below. It really helps us out, and we'll see you on the next one.